with life very specifically in specific situations, and we can be proud of that. And you led with your own example. There were times when international affairs didn't really play a big part in our party, and we cannot allow that to happen again, because the war waged by Russia, the pandemic, all these factors have shown us that these international conflicts have an enormous explosive power inside our own country and society. So that's why we as Social Democrats need to be the party that can really have an impact on international policy, and we can build bridges in order to prevent the rifts inside our country. And of course, we need to question what we could have done differently before the 24th of February. We need to ask ourselves what we can learn for the future, and we need to do it as well. As party chair, I personally felt that it was important really to come to terms with the mistakes that we've committed in the past, and we're the only political party in the German landscape who's done that, by the way. In Germany, there was a consensus in broad parts of the society that close ties with Russia are good for us, good for Russia as well, good for a peaceful living together in Europe. And that was the foundation of our policy. But because of that, we weren't able to see that the framework of these relationships had changed, that Putin's regime has become ever more repressive and aggressive and revisionist, and that we were not able to see what really divided us. And comrades, it was a mistake not to be more distanced when it comes to Putin's regime. Russia has really said goodbye to the system of common security and our joint values. So we need to organize our security system without Russia and protecting us against Russia as well. So others have, though, used this opportunity to spit on the legacy of Willy Brandt, and I will not allow for that to happen. I will protect Willy Brandt's legacy, his politics, his foreign policy. That was always a combination of diplomacy, a clear view onto human rights, and also international law, the protection of sovereign borders. And Willy Brandt knew that the hand that you extend needs to be a strong hand. And we, as Social Democrats, we have understood that. We do offer our hand. We want President Zelensky this year. And I remember a conversation that really impressed me when we talked to Bogdan Feres, the chair of the Ukrainian Social Democratic Platform. And he's with us today as well. He said, tomorrow is always characterized by great insecurity. But this perspective to become a part of the European Union gives hope to the people in Ukraine, hope for the future. Bogdan and your fellow Ukrainians, we stand by your side. You are part of the European Union, and the SPD is standing firmly by your side.
And
it's the European Union that shows us that cooperation makes us stronger, stronger than conflicts, and democracy and the rule of law, the freedom and to protect the freedom of our citizens. And that's what we stand for: peace, prosperity, and freedom. And Europe is a great concept, and we're ever more aware of that when taking a look at the national debates. 27 nation states that are developing their strength together, 450 million citizens, and no other country is benefiting as much from the European Union as Germany does. Every fourth job is depending on the exports towards European Union member states. So whenever our European partners are well off, that will also mean prosperity and strength for Germany. And if the AfD advocates an exit from the European Union and speaks of the Europe of the fatherlands, well, they want to cut down secure jobs, prosperity, and security. And this is what Europe can guarantee for us. So that's why the European elections next year will be decisive. And whether those forces will win that want to develop and secure Europe, or those who want to travel back in time. And we need to fight against the far right. And we do that with Katharina at our helm. And we do look forward to the European campaign next year. We will be standing by your side and supporting you. And we are also engaging in this fight all over the world. In August, I supported last year Lula, President Lula. He was candidate at the time, and I met him last week as president, last week here in Berlin. And he, of course, wants to forge more bonds between the social democratic family around the globe. And that's why I'm grateful that we, as SPD, have now an agreement with the PT, the party in Brazil, that we want to stand together. We want to improve also our approaches in terms of climate policy. Also in Mongolia, we have similar agreements. So, comrades, it's important that we also look onto countries outside Europe. The world is in turmoil, and we need to take the global south into account. Rolf has mentioned it. It's not about prescribing other nations how they need to be, but that we need to be aware that this is an international competition also against countries like China and Russia. And we need to make clear that we are the better partners. We have cooperation on offer, speaking on eye level in equal rights. And we need to make it clear and need to make sure that we want to take on leadership and not leave it to China and Russia on the international arena. And that's why I want to be very clear. And Olaf, I'm very grateful to you that you as Chancellor follow exactly this path. That was a very hysterical debate last year when we discussed the question of whether our Chancellor is to travel to China or not. A hysterical debate. But then you were there standing next to Xi Jinping, and then you said very clearly, you sent a clear signal, no threat, no nuclear threat, no use of nuclear weapons. And that was the only right thing to do. Of course, it was the right decision to travel to China and to also show the values that we stand for, to look for global cooperation and to send a joint signal to Russia as well. Thank you, Olaf, for having done that. And it's great that you are having this international mission and that you're living up to it. Comrades, so the motion includes different answers from a social democratic perspective, and it was a great debate that we've had for the last 2 years. And I'm very happy that we can also continue the debate here at the Party Congress. Thank you for everybody who's contributed to it. And I'm passing the floor now to the Spanish Prime Minister, Pedro. The floor is yours. Please come to the stage.
Thank you very much, President. Thank you very much, dear colleagues. If there's something revolutionary in politics, it is doing what is right. And what is right in times of uncertainty and deep transformation like the ones we're living is to show leadership and determination. Doing what is right is not succumbing to melancholy or being carried away by inertia. It is having the courage to drive change. As your motto states, working for a fairer Germany. So, dear Olaf, thank you for doing what is right. Thank you for your vision to lead the green and digital transformation of this great country. And thank you for your courage to lead change in Germany. And I can tell you that today and always, here in Berlin, in Madrid, or in Brussels, you will always find me by your side. You can count on me, you can count on the Spanish socialists to fight all the battles and challenges that unite us. Dear comrades of the SPD, I want to tell you something. To me, as Secretary General of the Socialist Party in Spain, being at your Congress is much more than a great honor. It is almost a moral obligation. We, the Spanish Socialists, have a tremendous debt of gratitude to this great party, the SPD, not only for helping us to strengthen social democracy in Spain, but because the SPD decisively contributed to consolidating democracy in my country. Thank you very much for that. We will never forget that example of fraternity. We will never forget that in the darkest moment of the Spanish history, you were a beacon of hope and inspiration. You were a hand that helped my country move forward when it needed it most. So today, I'm not addressing you as a Spanish social democrat. I would like you consider me as a member of this great family called the SPD, because I am one of yours. Dear comrades, we live in times of uncertainty and great transformations. Reality is becoming increasingly complex, and the future is becoming more uncertain. Technology has transformed our lives to levels we do not fully comprehend. Climate change threatens the future of our planet. We have just overcome an unprecedented pandemic. We thought we had left behind military conflicts in Europe, but we are experiencing them in Ukraine and now also in the Middle East. But no matter how profound the changes are, some certainties are equally deep. We know that inequality is a corrosive force against coexistence and peace. We know that education is the best investment a society can make. We know that a public safety net in the face of misfortune is a guarantee for progress. So in a time of great uncertainties, it is good to remain faithful to the principles and values that define us, those of social democracy. Europeans learned this with much suffering. We know that hatred and fear are dangerous viruses, a virus that can be lethal for our democracies. The far right understand this very well. They know how to spread the virus, Unfortunately, this virus is invading traditional right-wing politics in many parts of Europe and the world. The world is at a major crossroads. We've seen it in advanced democracies like the United States. We never know, or we don't know yet what's going to happen in the next US elections. But also in the past in Brazil, and now in Argentina. We're witnessing it in Europe. A global battle is being fought between science and animalism, between the equality represented by feminism or the privilege of sexism, between social justice or inequality, between respect for human rights or the barbarism of war, between culture or a return to censorship, between democratic respect or the populist insult of extremists. That is what is at stake, right here and right now. Either democracy provides security or insecurity will jeopardize the survival of democracy. Either we face all this huge transformation, climate change, digital transformation with social justice, or the foundation of our prosperity will be weakened. Either Europe moves forward or Europe returns to the past. And talking about the past, in the past, traditional conservative parties simply sought to preserve a status quo. That could be harmful or just a wrong decision, but not a lethal one. Now, the real threat is different. They do not seek to simply preserve something. They seek, pushed by the far right, into the ashes of the past. And that, yes, it can be lethal for democracy. So, dear comrades, it is not enough to resist the reactionary tide that is sweeping the world with hatred, fear, and forgetfulness. We need advance. And the best way to ensure progress is to continue defending the principles of our dear family, the social democracy. So let us always remember why and for what purpose we enter politics. Let us remember that we are here to improve people's life. We are here to promote a future with more social justice, with more rights and freedoms, and with more democracy. So we cannot afford to stop. Socialists understand well that there is no natural law working in favor of justice and equality. Everything must be earned through effort. Nothing has been given to us, and not progressing almost always means moving backwards. So therefore, we must convey a message of hope, especially to the younger generation. A country that offers hope and a future to its youth can resist populism and far right. My dear comrades, the welfare state was a tool against the return of fascism. Today, it still is. It is our tool against the far right because it provides certainty and security to the middle and the working class. And there is no other ideological construct more effective in combating inequality. It is a powerful instrument, just as powerful as the ideal of a united Europe. Europe is not only a powerful safety net, as it proves during the pandemics. It is a global force and a source of inspiration in a world in need of it. A brave ideal in constant motion. This brave and determined Europe faces an existential dilemma today. Do we want a Europe that serves as a beacon to inspire the world through its example of integration and progress? Or do we want a Europe hiding behind the trenches? Do we want to be an inspiration, proof that democracy, social justice, and cutting-edge economics can work together, or do we want a frightened Europe dominated by fear? We need a Europe that is increasingly united and at the same time increasingly open. A forward-looking Europe without nostalgia, not even for the achievements already attained. We need a Europe that does not bow the knee to the elites, one that does not succumb to fear and pessimism, one that continues to lead the fight against climate change, one that contributes ethical meaning and human value to the major transformations anticipated by digitalization or the development of artificial intelligence. My friends, my friend Olaf, dear Olaf, your cause is our cause. Your success will be our success because we believe in the same principles, because we wield the same weapons of justice and hope, because we are united by the desire to move forward and not retreat in the face of the same adversary. An adversary that we halted a few months ago in Spain with the power of the people, the power of votes. Spain said no to regression and fear. It said no to the past and retrogression. And Spain said yes to progress. It said yes to the future and the unwavering will to advance. So today, Spain has a new progressive government, and from that government we will stand for an open, supportive, and human rights committed Europe that others want to dismantle. Because this is the real soul of Europe. And dear Olaf, dear comrades, Spain and Germany will be united in their defense. It is often said that perseverance leads to victory. Next year, in the European elections, we must prove it right. We don't consider any battle lost, and we don't consider any battle lost, and at the crossroads, we will stand on our principles while others are giving up. We must assume that responsibility, my dear comrades, even if we have to do it alone due to the desertion of those unable to resist the advance of the far right. Dear friends, I have spoken about memory, Europe, the principles, values of social democracy, and the need to resist the virus of hatred and fear that the right and the far right tries to spread. Let me finish with the memory of a man whose life embodies all these values. Tomorrow will mark the 100th anniversary of the birth of one of the greatest Spanish socialists or progressive personality, Jorge Semprún. He was the Minister of Culture in the socialist government in Spain back in the 80s of the 20th century, a committed Democrat to the cause of freedom in Spain, France, and Germany. Confined in the Buchenwald camp near Weimar, close to the oak tree preferred by his beloved Goethe, he sought refuge in the verse of Hölderlin and Heine. Shortly before his death, Semprún spoke in the Bundestag at an event in memory of the victims of Nazi barbarism. There, he praised with admiration, and I quote, the human mentality and the extraordinary civic courage of his German anti-fascist comrades. So, dear comrades, those values are alive in all of you. in my comrades of the German social democracy, in those who are the heart and the soul of a party that is a moral compass for all European progressives. Today, yesterday, and always, it is an honor to fight alongside you for a fairer Germany, a fairer Europe, and a fairer world. And I thank you.